Where can I oh, here. Two objects of art, a building, and myself. What do we have in common? We're all based in Kuwait. We're all over 25 years old. And we all belong to Dar al-Athar al-Islamiyya. We are chosen by one man, my husband, Nasser, although I'm not an art object, as you can see. We all witnessed events that had dramatic impact on the world around us. We are all in different journey. The destination remain unknown. My journey began by accident. In the mid-70s, as Dr. Liada had explained, my husband started the Islamic art collection, and the collection became so large that it filled every nook and cranny of my house. At home, the collection was my sole responsibility. And I had to look after it, dusting, cleaning, visitors touching, hairdressers, children, were nightmares. So you can imagine, I was the happiest person on earth when my husband decided that the collection should be loaned to the Kuwait National Museum. I thought that shift or transfer of collection meant transfer of responsibility. Surely that was not the case. Happy that others would get to share the joy of appreciating the aesthetic value of the collection, and also someone else to take care of the objects and the conservation of them. Marlene Jenkins Medina, who's sitting here with us, now is the Met's curator emerita, came to catalog the collection and to help us move it from our private home to the Kuwait National Museum. That was supposed to open in 1983. Marlene gave me the simple task of taking measurements. Of course, you can understand it was a private collection and it wasn't properly catalogued or even registered. So I was quite excited about it, and it was great fun. But it wasn't the reality of my situation. That settled a month later. Here's Lynn. In the time leading up to the opening in February 1983, still largely under the supervision of Marlene, we hired curators and conservators, educators and librarians, managers and staff, support staff. But when the museum was opened, Marlene's job was done, and she left, leaving behind on my desk a plate saying, a director. So the director was inscribed on that plaque. I was the director, and the weight of that responsibility suddenly dawned on me. Now, it wasn't just objects. I was responsible for a museum, staff, and a program. And I was also responsible to a ministry, a management, and the Kuwaiti people. I was overwhelmed, to say the least. It is important that you understand my timidity was not related to being an Arab woman or a woman from Kuwait. Women in Kuwait were and still are occupying senior positions in private and public sectors. but I just wasn't one of them. I was a liberal arts major with no experience in business, museums, or public policy. But not doing the job was not an option. What I lacked in experience, I tried to make up for with commitment and hard work. And that's when I discovered my power. I gained confidence. With every decision I made and worked, I grew more confident. With every decision I made and didn't work and was then corrected, I grew even more confident. So this confidence empowered me, not dictators' power or superwoman power, but the power to influence and inspire people around me. That's the start of my story and the direction of my journey, from housewife and mother to museum professional, if I can say that. I assumed the responsibility and learned the power of collaboration and influence. Over the next decades, I used them all. Yes. This ceramic bowl with pierced decoration began its journey almost 1,000 years ago in Iran. It's not a fancy piece, it's tiny, as big as this. The shape and pierced designs were used to simulate Chinese Song Dynasty porcelain, as you can see. Chances are it was owned by an average family for everyday use. This was one of the pieces I measured at home before the museum opening. 7 years later, this 12th century bowl started its journey in an exhibition called Islamic Art and Patronage Treasures from Kuwait, which was scheduled to open in St. Petersburg, then Leningrad, in August 1990. But the dramatic event of the Kuwait invasion, took place in the 2nd of August 1990. So this piece has its own journey. And originally it was part of this, our first international exhibition. That remained a commendable intention, but real-world politics changed the journey. After the invasion of Kuwait on August 2nd, 1990, the bowl and the exhibition representative of the state of Kuwait, now under siege, became visible acts of defiance. In St. Petersburg, they said to the world that Kuwait would not be silenced. They represented the resilience of the Kuwaiti people, and they became a rallying point for those appalled the invasion. Yes. Months later, the bowl and the exhibition traveled to Walter's Art Museum, not far from here, and Kuwait was still under occupation, and the world was deciding how to respond. Now, this simple bowl having, is it working? I press again? Okay, sorry. This simple bowl, having survived untold conflicts in its long history, helped influence members of the US House and Senate who came to the exhibition to learn more about Kuwait, to discover that the country represented more than oil. It included people who appreciate beauty, preserve culture, and celebrate life. This bowl and the other objects in the exhibition astounded the audience with a display of the rich history and heritage found in our country. From Baltimore, the bowl and the exhibition traveled uninterrupted for 13 years and were hosted in 7 US states and 13 other countries. And everywhere it went, it served as an ambassador, first for a country looking for international support, later representing a grateful nation saying thank you to all those who helped in our liberation. The ball and the exhibition became the embodiment of the soft power of influence, quietly compelling others to preserve and protect its home, Kuwait. Okay. Unlike the humble bowl, this inscribed royal spinel has history written all over it, literally. The stone is about this size, so it is little under 300 carats. But its function is not only ornamental or decorative, it's historic. The stone is inscribed with names of rulers, as you can see. It has 6 dynasties and 6 rulers and 4 dynasties. The stone has been famous since before it was sent to Jahangir by Shah Abbas I, and is the very stone fabled in recent literature as the Timur ruby. So its journey has been remarkable for centuries. As part of the Al-Sabah collection and the treasury of the world jeweled arts of India and the age of the Mughals exhibition, it continued its almost royal journey. In the British Museum, where it premiered, it sat next to a similar stone owned by Queen Elizabeth II. It was featured in the Royal Palace in Madrid, the Louvre, and other prestigious museums around the world. But no step of the journey was more important than the one taken in September 2001, when planes struck the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and that field in Pennsylvania. The Timur ruby was stuck at JFK. Treasury of the World was scheduled to open at the Met 1 month later. Once again, political reality changed the mission of an exhibition and of an object, in this case, a regal ruby. As you know, the devastation experienced by the people of USA and beyond was palpable, and the appropriateness of opening an exhibition of art from the Islamic world at that time, soon after 9/11, was questioned. Yes. But once again, it was decided that the exhibition must go on. Not only as a sign of defiance this time, but as loud denunciation of the actions of 9/11. Treasury of the World gave the New Yorkers and visitors to New York a platform to positive conversation and the chance to separate the Islamic world from the atrocities committed by a handful of criminals. And once again, the unexpected change in the journey gave the Timur ruby and the other objects in the exhibition the power to more than just entertain. Okay. Finally, along with the simple bowl, the royal spinel, and me, there is this building. We are all under one roof. We are home at the Americani Cultural Center. This center has a journey of its own, and maybe even more than the objects. It represents the responsibility, influence, and power that are the focus of this conference. The Americani Cultural Center started as the American Mission Hospital in the early 20th century. Founded by the Reformed Church of America, it provided the first Western medicine in Kuwait. The doctors, nurses, and missionaries, most from the US, through their medical practices, accepted their responsibility of introducing a new culture and faith in Kuwait. For more than 50 years, their journey included treating patients who grew to respect and appreciate their efforts, but never converted. And that's another story. For that same period, the buildings, I mean the hospitals, embodied the ethos of service, healing, and care, and were powerful instruments in building enduring affinities between the people of the US and Kuwait. Today, the buildings exert the same power, this time serving the mind and soul more than the body. Exhibitions of objects from the Al-Sabah collection augment the message of the center. Journeys change over time, so do missions sometimes. So I want to end by sharing with you what I've learned most of my journey. When I visit a museum, I allow myself to be a visitor, not a museum professional, and to be astounded by what I see. I make myself look past the creative way objects are displayed or historic buildings are set up, and focus on the objects themselves and the stories they tell. When I see 1,000-year-old wall, I try to imagine the story beyond what's on the label. When I look at the Timur Ruby, I marvel that it survives the transition of 6 rulers and 4 dynasties. By giving myself the freedom of a child seeing T-Rex skeleton for the first time, or budding historians visiting Monticello, or a painter surrounded by Vermeers, I am astounded. And I hope, as I continue my journey, professional and personal, I will use that feeling to push my organization to be astounding. And I will always be astounded. I end up with this for you to contemplate upon. Thank you.